Your nose isn't random. Its shape, size, and structure are the result of ancient survival strategies, genetics, and tiny developmental details that happened before you were even born. Today, we're breaking down the 5 biggest reasons why your nose looks exactly the way it does, and what each feature actually means. 1. Climate adaptation. Your ancestors' environment played a huge role in shaping the form of your nose. People from colder climates evolved narrower noses because they warm and humidify air more efficiently before it reaches the lungs. Meanwhile, populations from hot and humid regions developed wider nostrils that allow for smoother airflow and better cooling. These evolutionary adaptations didn't happen overnight. They emerged over thousands of years of survival pressure. Even today, scientists can often predict a person's ancestral climate based on nasal width alone. This isn't about appearance, but about respiratory efficiency. Imagine Emma, who has a narrow, high-bridged nose and discovers her ancestry traces back to Northern Europe. Her friend Maya, with a wider nose shape, learns her ancestors lived in hot coastal regions. Their noses tell the story long before the ancestry test does. The climate your ancestors survived shaped your nose more than any trend or beauty standard ever could. 2. Genetic inheritance. Your nose is a blend of genetic instructions passed down from parents, grandparents, and even distant ancestors you never met. More than a dozen genes influence nose width, bridge height, tip shape, and cartilage thickness. These genes don't act alone. Combinations of dominant and recessive traits form entirely unique shapes. That's why siblings can have noses that look similar or completely different. Developmental genes also guide how the cartilage forms in the womb, affecting symmetry and overall structure. When all these factors combine, they create a nose shape that is truly one of a kind. Alex hates his slightly crooked nose until he sees an old photo of his grandfather smiling with the exact same shape. Suddenly, his nose feels less like a flaw and more like a piece of family heritage. The shape you see in the mirror often carries the imprint of the people who came before you. 3. Cartilage structure. If your nose looks soft, firm, pointy, or rounded, cartilage is the reason. Unlike bone, cartilage is flexible and varies widely from person to person in thickness and shape. Some people have strong, defined cartilage that creates a sharper bridge and tip, while others have softer or more malleable cartilage that creates a rounder appearance. Over time, cartilage can subtly shift due to aging, pressure, or injury. Even small differences in nasal cartilage can dramatically change how the nose appears from the front or side. This is why no two noses, even within the same family, look identical. When Jordan accidentally bumps his nose during a basketball game, he notices the shape slightly changes afterward. A mild bend in the cartilage becomes part of his look and remains even years later. Your cartilage doesn't just support your nose, it defines its entire personality. 4. Facial proportions. Your nose doesn't exist in isolation, it's shaped by the rest of your face. A nose looks larger on a smaller face and smaller on a larger face, even if the actual size doesn't change. The distance between your eyes, the angle of your jaw, and the length of your midface all influence how your nose is perceived. Even slight variations in cheekbone height can make the bridge appear higher or lower. This is why cosmetic changes to one part of the face can alter the appearance of the nose, even without touching it. Your nose is part of a full structural system, not a standalone feature. When Priya gets braces and her jaw alignment changes, she's shocked to realize her nose looks different in photos. Nothing about the nose changed. Her new proportions just shifted the way it fits her face. Your nose's appearance is shaped as much by its neighbors as by its own structure. 5. Childhood development. Your nose continued to grow and change long after you were born. The nasal bones and cartilage develop at different rates throughout childhood and adolescence. Nutrition, minor injuries, and even habits like thumb sucking can subtly affect nasal alignment or symmetry. Hormones during puberty can also influence cartilage growth, sometimes making the nose more prominent or defined. This is why many people feel their nose settled into its adult shape later than other features. Development isn't perfectly symmetrical, so small uneven features often reveal this natural growth pattern. As a kid, Liam broke his nose playing soccer, but it healed without treatment. Years later, he notices the slight tilt in old-school photos. Something he never realized came from that childhood accident. The nose you have today is the result of years of tiny developmental moments, not just genetics. 6. Ancestral migration. Human noses didn't develop their shapes in one place. Migration played a huge role. As populations moved across continents, different environments created new pressures that influenced nasal evolution. Groups who relocated to drier, colder regions gradually developed narrower, longer nasal passages to warm the air more efficiently. Meanwhile, groups settling in warmer, wetter regions retained wider shapes that improved airflow in humid climates. Over thousands of years, these adaptations stacked on top of each other. Even if your family moved recently, the evolutionary memory remains in your features. Ronnie grows up in Canada, but has a wide, rounded nose shape. When she studies her family history, she learns her ancestors lived for centuries near the equator. Her features reflect journeys made long before her life began. Your nose carries the map of ancient migrations, even if you've never left your hometown. 7. Bone structure. The upper part of your nose isn't made of cartilage, it's bone, and it determines much of the height and shape of your nasal bridge. Some people have a high nasal bone structure, which makes the bridge appear straighter or taller. Others have lower or flatter bones, resulting in a softer contour. Small differences in nasal bone length, thickness, or angle can dramatically change the overall look. Broken bones, even tiny fractures from childhood, can alter the shape permanently. While cartilage forms the tip, the nasal bones form the foundation that everything else rests on. Ella is surprised when an X-ray shows an old fracture she never knew she had. Suddenly, she understands the slight bump on her bridge, something she always thought was just part of her natural shape. The bones behind your nose provide the hidden framework that defines how it appears on the outside. 8. Cultural variation. Throughout history, cultures have celebrated different nose shapes, subtly influencing how people perceive and even alter their features. Certain societies favored strong, prominent noses as symbols of nobility or intelligence, while others valued small, delicate noses for beauty and balance. These preferences shaped everything from art to marriage traditions. Over generations, even small choices, like who people found attractive, could slightly influence which nose traits were passed down more frequently. Cultural beauty standards don't change your genetics, but they can influence the long-term patterns within a population. When Mariana looks at portraits of her ancestors, she notices the same proud, defined bridge portrayed as a sign of prestige. Now she sees that feature in herself with more appreciation. The nose you see today is part biology, part history, and part cultural storytelling. 9. Hormonal influence. Hormones affect your nose more than people realize, especially during puberty. As testosterone and estrogen levels rise, cartilage can grow or become more defined. This is why many people feel their nose changes shape between early childhood and late teens. Hormones can even affect skin thickness on the nose, subtly altering how sharp or soft its edges appear. In adulthood, hormonal shifts may influence inflammation or swelling, temporarily changing how the nose looks. These variations may seem minor, but over time they contribute to the final shape you see in the mirror. During puberty, Mateo notices his nose becoming more prominent, something that surprises him each year when school photos come out. By his late teens, the shape settles, and he finally recognizes it as part of his adult face. Hormones guide the final stages of your nose's growth, shaping the version that follows you into adulthood. 10. Aging changes. Your nose doesn't freeze in time after adulthood. It continues to change as you age. The cartilage may weaken slightly, causing the tip to droop or soften. Skin loses elasticity, which can make the nose look subtly larger or more rounded. Even the muscles around the nostrils can shift with age, influencing how the nose appears at rest and during expression. These changes happen slowly and naturally, often becoming noticeable only when comparing childhood and adult photos. Aging isn't deforming the nose, it's simply revealing new versions of it. Maria sees an old photo of herself at 20 and realizes how different her nose looks today. Not worse, just more mature, shaped by decades of expression, smiles, and time. Like every part of your face, your nose tells a story of the years you've lived. Your nose is more than a feature, it's a history book. It carries the fingerprints of ancestry, climate, genetics, childhood, and even the choices your ancestors made hundreds of years ago. Every bump, curve, and angle exists for a reason, shaped by forces far bigger than personal preference. Understanding why your nose looks the way it does helps you appreciate the deep history written into your face. It's a reminder that beauty isn't random. It's inherited, evolved, and earned. If you enjoyed learning the hidden story behind your nose, make sure you subscribe for more videos just like this. And drop a comment telling me what feature of your face you'd like explained next.